You can feel it before anyone says a word. The reports are ready. The agenda is clean. You know what this meeting is supposed to be about. And then your client walks in a little differently, slower, quieter. They can't quite make eye contact. And you just think, okay, something changed.
You feel it right away. You may not know the facts yet, but you know this isn't going to be a normal meeting.
Right. The room already feels different.
It does.
Then they say it. I think we're getting divorced. My husband was just diagnosed. I don't think I want to keep working. My mom can't live alone anymore. I don't know what happens next.
And that's the moment.
It really is.
Because now it's not really about the spreadsheet anymore. It's a person sitting across from you trying to think clearly while life suddenly doesn't feel steady.
That gets me every time. That feeling of, wow, life doesn't feel steady anymore.
That's usually what's underneath it. Clients don't always say that part out loud. They may sound composed. They may even sound practical. But underneath, there can be fear, grief, overload, relief, shame, family tension, all of it, all at once.
And that's the part most advisors were never really trained for.
They were trained for strategy, numbers, recommendations, not always for what to do when the person in front of them is carrying something heavy and still has to make decisions anyway.
Welcome to Advising Humans. I'm Yasmin.
And I'm Kathleen.
And that's what we want to talk about here. The human side of advice. What's going on underneath the surface in life transitions? And how to show up well when the conversation gets heavier than the agenda.
Because that happens all the time. Someone can look totally functional on the outside and still feel unsteady on the inside.
And I think a lot of advisors know that feeling. They know something bigger is happening in the room, but they don't always know what to do with it.
Right, or they're sitting there thinking, I know what to recommend, but I'm not sure that's what this person needs from me first.
That tension is so real.
It is. And some of the most important moments in an advisor's career aren't the ones where they give the smartest technical answer.
They're the ones where a client's life changes, and the advisor knows how to show up.
Not to fix every emotion in the room, not to become a therapist, but to be a steady guide. Someone who can slow things down, lower the pressure, create structure, ask better questions, and help the client take the next good step.
That's the version of advice we care about.
Because a recommendation can be technically right and still feel impossible to act on.
So true.
A meeting can look productive on paper, while the client leaves more overwhelmed than when they came in.
And that gap really matters, because that's where trust can quietly erode.
Or deepen.
Right.
When the advisor knows how to make the conversation feel clearer, calmer, and more doable, that's often where trust starts to deepen.
And that matters even more now.
It does.
Because information is everywhere. Strategy is everywhere. Technical answers are easier to get than they used to be.
Which means what really sets you apart is how well you understand the person in front of you and how well you help them use the advice when life feels hard.
Right. Because when someone's in the middle of change, they don't just need information.
No, they don't.
They need guidance they can actually absorb.
Advice they can actually take in and use.
That's such an important idea.
It really is, because if the advice can't land, if the client can't hear it, trust it, or act on it, then being technically right isn't enough.
And that's really what we want to explore here. Sometimes it'll be a specific transition: divorce, retirement, caregiving, illness, loss, advisor change, all of it.
Sometimes it'll be practical language you can use, questions that open things up, ways to structure a conversation when someone's emotionally overloaded, and ways to help a client take one clear next step.
And sometimes it'll just be naming something a lot of advisors have felt but haven't quite had words for yet.
Because that matters too. People do better when they can name what's actually happening in the room.
And we want this to help right away.
We do. This isn't empathy for show. It's empathy that helps you do the job better. It helps with pacing. It helps with the questions you ask. And it helps you read what might look like resistance, urgency, indecision, or withdrawal.
Because what looks like procrastination may actually be overload.
It may.
What looks like resistance may be grief.
It can be.
What looks like urgency may be fear.
And what looks like indecision may be someone trying to hold together 10 moving parts at once. So if you miss that, you can miss the real conversation.
Which means you can also miss the real opportunity to help.
And for firm leaders, this matters too. When advisors get better at this, relationships get stronger. Confidence grows. Clients stay. Referrals grow. The whole client experience feels more human and a lot more memorable.
And that's not soft.
No, it's strategic. Because the moments that test trust are usually the ones that matter most.
So maybe that's the invitation. Notice more, listen more deeply, pay attention to what people may be carrying into the room, and become the kind of advisor or guide who helps people feel steadier in the middle of change.
And also, give yourself permission to keep growing in this part of the work. For a lot of people in advisory roles, this was never formally taught. It was learned through hard conversations, imperfect meetings, and those moments where you walk out and think, I wish I'd done that better.
And that's our current reality.
And that's what this show is here for, to help you understand what's happening beneath the surface and know what to do next.
We're really glad you're here.
And we'll keep coming back to one idea over and over again.
Our clients don't live inside spreadsheets. They live inside lives.
And when those lives change, good support can make a huge difference.
Thank you for taking the time to join us. If this conversation made you think differently about how the human side of advice shapes trust, retention, and the client experience, share the Advising Humans podcast with another advisor or leader who wants to lead those moments with more care, clarity, and skill.
You can also tune in at advisinghumans.com for more episodes, show notes, and practical resources to help you lead steadier conversations, support clients through change, and turn insight into action.
Because the human side of advice is not extra. It's often the part clients remember most and deepens trust. Thanks for listening to Advising Humans.
We'll see you next time.